On July 24th, 2002, a torso floated to the surface of the San Francisco Bay. No head, no arms, no legs, no way to determine how the woman died. DNA testing confirmed what her family feared. The remains belonged to 24-year-old Evelyn Hernandez, a young woman who had been missing for nearly 3 months. But the discovery only deepened the mystery, because Evelyn wasn't alone when she vanished. She was 9 months pregnant, and her 5-year-old son Alex disappeared with her. Alex has never been found. Not a trace, not a sight, not a single confirmed lead in more than 20 years. This is the story of a mother and a son who vanished in the shadow of one of the most famous missing person cases in American history, and how their case was quietly pushed aside. Today, we're telling the story that never got the attention it deserved. This is the case of Evelyn and Alex Hernandez.
Hey, coworkers.
Welcome to Coworkers in Crime, the podcast where office chatter meets crime discussion.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Crystal.
Yes, we really do work together.
And yes, we're totally obsessed with true crime.
From water cooler whispers to cold case deep dives,
we're here to bring you stories that keep us chatting way past our coffee breaks.
So grab your coffee,
lock your desk drawer, and let's get into this week's case. So, Rachel, let's start with who Evelyn Hernandez was. According to reporting from the San Francisco Chronicle and interviews with her family, Evelyn immigrated from El Salvador as a teenager. She was 24. She worked 2 jobs, one at Costco and one at a business at the San Francisco airport, and raises her 5-year-old son, Alex, on her own.
And she was 9 months pregnant, due any day. Her sister told the Mercury News that Evelyn was excited. She picked out a name. She was getting everything ready. There's nothing in her life that suggests she was planning to leave or start over.
She was described as responsible, reliable, and deeply devoted to Alex. She didn't miss work. She didn't disappear. She didn't just go silent.
So let me ask you this. When you look at her routine, her responsibilities, her personality, do you see any scenario where she just walks away?
I really don't, not one. I did watch a couple documentaries on this, and her family didn't see one either, obviously. They knew immediately that something was wrong. And you and I have talked about this before. Like, if you or I just, up and left, we just left our kids, didn't, that's just not going to happen. Rachel's not just going to disappear one day. And imagine 9 months pregnant. You don't just, oh, okay, yeah, I'm not going to talk to anybody or, that's crazy. That's just, and you have a 5-year-old and you just both up and disappear. It just clearly not something that she did. Just didn't add up.
Yeah, so let's walk through the timeline. Evelyn was last seen on May 1st, 2002, near her home in San Francisco. She had just attended a baby shower a few days earlier. Everything seemed normal.
Her sister told the Chronicle that Evelyn was in good spirits. No signs of fear, no signs of stress, no signs that she was planning on leaving.
But after May 1st, she stopped showing up to work. She misses a prenatal appointment. She doesn't answer calls. And that's when her family reports her missing.
And here's where we see the first major investigative issue. According to SFPD statements recorded by the Chronicle, police intentionally treated her disappearance as voluntary.
A 9-month pregnant woman voluntarily disappearing with her 5-year-old son?
Yeah, it just does not make sense. There's no way to say that and not go, can you say any of that without being this doesn't make you immediately think that this woman didn't just get up and walk away?
I mean, anyone who's been 9 months pregnant, you don't want to move much
no.
at that stage of life.
With a
you're just
5-year-old in tow, just
Right.
no help. I'm just going to go 9 months pregnant, marching down the street with a 5-year-old and try and disappear. You want to be a little bit lighter in the luggage when you start just taking off and disappearing. It just does not make sense.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't even want to move when I had my second son, and I was 9 months pregnant with and I had a toddler. So it's nope, I don't see this scenario. I don't understand that's where we started, I guess. So that leads to the question, what we haven't said is, do you think the response would have been different if Evelyn had been white, a middle class, and English speaking?
I do. Mostly because of the parallel case that overshadowed her kind of shows you why. And we'll talk about that, I'm sure, later. But the reporting and the way you see them saying, oh, she just, just kind of brushing it off, I feel supports that. It supports that she just got ignored. The urgency simply wasn't there.
And it's sad, and I think we see this a lot now that you and I have started doing these cases, is there's the one that got all the media attention, and then these other ones that just didn't get the attention they deserve.
The spookiness is that there's such similar cases to the biggest news right then. Like, why wouldn't you think if you control the news at that moment and you're like, we have two people from the same city with the same exact disappearance pattern, wouldn't you find that just completely bizarre and think you need to talk about it? But or would you hide one of them and be like, "Oh no, this is an isolated case, nothing like it, nothing to see here." I mean, just really wild.
It is, it's very wild, and I mean, obviously, I don't work in media, and I don't understand how they choose which stories to run with and which ones, are that second page or buried deep within the paper, so to speak.
Yeah.
I don't know how they choose their news stories. So, but we'll get there. So let's talk about her boyfriend. So we need to talk about the man who should have been a central focus, the father of Evelyn's unborn baby.
Yeah, he was married and he was financially supporting Evelyn, but inconsistently. And according to SFPD interviews summarized in the Chronicle, his timeline didn't fully match phone records.
He told police he last saw her at a bus stop, but investigators later say they couldn't confirm that detail.
And he gave multiple versions of events. That's straight from local police and reporting.
But despite the inconsistencies, he's never been charged, never named a suspect.
I mean, was that a lack of evidence or was it a lack of urgency? I mean, how do you not even have the energy to name someone as, as either a suspect or this person even missing? It's just very strange.
It is strange, and I mean, I think every show we ever watch or every podcast we ever listen to, the people close to the victim are always your first
Right,
suspects,
that's
like, you gotta
NBC.
eliminate them
Right, I
until.
mean, it's formula, like, you always they have to rule that person out. It's not even like, this person should be a suspect because they're suspicious. No, you have to rule them out. I mean, people go through things where they're completely innocent, but they're treated as a suspect first, and that's a scary feeling. However, they know they're a suspect. It's just the way it goes. You get like, if something happens to someone very close to you, you're probably going to be a suspect immediately. That's just how they figure out what happened to the person you care about. It's not personal. But to not do it at all and say, "Hey, okay, we're just not even gonna name this person a suspect or look into them," that's really wild. Barely look into them.
And again, if this was a different woman from a different neighborhood with a different background, would the investigation have looked the same?
It's so
And we
easy
have
to
our
say.
parallel
Yeah,
case.
it's so
We
easy to
have
say,
our
"I don't think
parallel case
so." Yep.
that yeah, that will get there, and we know how that one panned out. On July 24th, 2002, nearly 3 months after Evelyn vanished, a torso was found floating near the Bay Bridge.
And that's when DNA confirmed it was Evelyn, but the condition of her body made it impossible to determine cause of death. That's from the medical examiner findings in the Mercury News.
I don't like to say this next part, but no limbs, no head, no signs of the baby.
And no signs of Alex, her son.
And this is where the case shifts from a missing persons investigation to a homicide, but without the evidence investigators needed.
Water recoveries are notoriously difficult. The currents, the decomp, the marine activity, all of it destroys important evidence. And the bay is one of the harshest environments for forensic recovery.
But even with those challenges, the fact that her son was missing should have triggered a massive search. That makes me very sad. That
Yeah, that is sad.
I don't like that. Alex Hernandez was 5 years old. He vanished the same day as his mother, and there's never been a single confirmed sighting of him.
The FBI's missing child bulletin for Alex is still active. That alone tells you how unresolved this is. So that makes it he's 26. Is that right? 20. He would be
Yeah,
20. Oh
20,
gosh,
about
no.
20.
So he's about 29.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Let's talk through the investigative theories, all grounded in reporting and official statements.
One, Alex witnessed something. And whoever harmed Evelyn harmed him too.
2, he was taken by someone Evelyn knew.
3, he was taken by someone the boyfriend knew.
4, he was placed with someone undocumented who never came forward.
5, he was killed and disposed of separately from her.
None of these theories have confirmed evidence behind them, but they're the only possibilities investigators have acknowledged.
And the fact that there's no trace of him, that's the part that's really haunting. I mean,
It
he could
really
be a
is.
full grown adult now and not know who he actually is. But he was only 5. He probably has no idea he was a different. To me, it does make sense that he was taken by someone and raised and doesn't know who he is. That would make sense. And unless he does some crazy DNA, there, like, "Oh, I wanna find out my heritage," then he may not know.
Mm, yeah,
Maybe
it
that's
is.
just, like, wishful thinking. I do hope he grew up and just doesn't know who he is.
Yeah. Or he was taken back to another country and raised there, and he has, no idea of his about his mom, which is sad. I mean, but again, I like that theory better than the other ones. So I guess we need to talk about the elephant in the room. The
Yeah,
other case that
coworkers
we've been
that know coworkers that are like, "I know what they're talking about," but
they probably already do. Yeah, any crime coworker already knows the case we're about to mention. The parallel case, and this happened at the same time, and it's the Lacey Peterson case.
yeah, Lacey disappeared in December 2002, just months after Evelyn. Both were pregnant, both vanished in Bay Area, and both were found in or near the Bay.
But Lacey's case became a national obsession. Evelyn's barely even made the local news.
And the reasons for that are systemic. It's race, immigration status, English fluency, socioeconomics. Because if if Evelyn had been another, like fluent, documented local, I mean, I don't remember if she an actual immigrant or was it just she had come over here and was, I can't remember. It doesn't really matter, but for some reason, she was months before a female that's this far along pregnant disappears, is found the same way Lacey was, and we don't ever mention her. How is that possible? That's very strange.
Yeah, and the San Francisco Chronicle explicitly noted the lack of media attention at the time. They compared the 2 cases directly.
It's not that Lacey didn't deserve coverage, and we talked about this before when we've talked about people that vanished from the Tetons but didn't get Gabby's exposure, or, those things. She absolutely deserved that attention, but so did Evelyn. She deserved the same urgency and the same attention and the same national obsession that Lacey got.
Yeah, I mean, and you still hear about Lacey's case. You rarely hear about Evelyn and Alex Hernandez. I mean, I heard about this years ago. I can't even remember where it was. It was almost like a little blip on the radar, not a full-blown case, and that got me thinking. I'm like, how many other cases are like this? And that's like when you and I decided to start the podcast, I was like, we definitely need to bring light to some of these cases that just never see the light of day.
Yeah.
But it does make reporting on them a little more difficult because there's not as much
Can't find anything.
information. There's not all the Dateline specials and,
Well, you know what we find
documentaries.
as people who don't like to talk about things that aren't documented by police, or, we don't want to talk about someone who wasn't, we don't name names about people who weren't in police reports. That makes it hard to discuss these things. The stories we find are the family. Evelyn's family has done a good job of keeping this out there and talking to local news and talking to local papers. Otherwise, what would we do? We would never know, That's
Yeah. Um,
agitating.
and the other part is that Alex, a missing 5-year-old, deserves national attention too. And I think he still does. Someone out there knows something.
Mhm. Yeah. He may
We
not,
need
but
he might not.
someone
We
knows.
need someone to talk.
Yeah. SFPD reopened this case multiple times. They've re-interviewed witnesses, they've reviewed evidence with fresh eyes.
But there's been no arrests, no new leads, and no answers.
The FBI still lists Alex as missing. His age progression photos are updated periodically.
And Evelyn's sister continues to advocate. She's spoken to Chronicle, to KTVU, to KRON4. She has not stopped fighting.
But she's fighting without the national support that other families have received.
But again, we talked about this last time. I don't think you can put out there every missing case, every missing person case, because that's all we would see on the news. It
Right.
would be
And
30
we talked
minutes of
about that with,
yeah,
the Interpol, how Interpol handled it.
right. And so, I mean, and we have talked about doing an episode about how the internet and social media has changed the face of some of these investigations and keeping their person's name out there by having the support for or finds this person. And I really think it makes a difference because it keeps it out there. It keeps, people can follow the page, and when there's an update, they're going to go back to it. And we don't have to rely on national news coverage or even local news coverage.
Yeah, it's immeasurable what internet does for these families who don't get it. I mean, you share it. You send it to someone you know. You say, "Hey, this is the area you live in. Did you hear about this?" I share cases all the time that I know what's going on in some of my friends' local news because I'm like, "Whoa, are you close to this?" We had a local thing happen here, and I had people send me screenshots of it and say, "Is this by you?" It's like, "Yeah, it's right down the road." But that's what people in a completely different state halfway across the country being like, "Hey, did this happen near you?" And I can find out something that way before. I mean, imagine that. Like you could hear about something that happened in my neighborhood before I could sometimes, that did happen. I heard immediately about something from somebody else that doesn't even live in this state. That's crazy. That's
It is
wild.
crazy. Yeah. Like Tracy will send me things and she'll be like, "How close is this to you?"
Yeah.
I'm always like, "Well, it's not super close." Like, yes, New England is a small area, but
Mhm. But
it's
it's
still a
packed.
distance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
still a
small,
distance.
but it's dense.
It
So,
is.
well, I'm really glad we finally got to this case. We've talked about it for a while. We've talked about putting Evelyn's story out. I think this was actually the first case that we were like, okay, we're not doing the scary one. We're going to do this
Right.
one. And we did all the research and we were going through our cases that we were like, okay, let's reorganize. What are we doing? And we found this one. I mean, I'm glad we went through the folders and started because we had done the research on this one in the beginning because it was clearly a case that didn't get the attention it deserved while parallel happening in real time. I mean, Lacey was found the same way Evelyn was, the same way. That's just in the same condition. That's so crazy. That's so sad.
It is. Both cases are very sad. And, I hope that Evelyn's family receives I hate saying closure, but, they get to know what happened. They get their answers. What happened to Alex? Like, that's a 5-year-old just starting kindergarten, probably 5 years old, and
Yeah, and
just gone? Like, nothing? Like, no,
damn, that's very sad.
it is very sad.
If you have any information or feel you know anything that you should be reporting, be sure and reach out to the San Francisco Police Department for missing persons. And on Alex, there is still an FBI missing child bulletin, which will be in the show notes. So if you have any information, please call the SFPD, the FBI tip hotline, or the NCMEC for the lost. So I will add those in the show notes for anyone who wants to share what they know. If you happen to know anything small, even a little thing could let
Yeah, you
you know
never know
someone
how
around the
little.
age of 30 that looks
Yeah.
like Evelyn, like send it in. Like, hey, this could be. Send it
Yeah.
off
Any little tip could be the thing that breaks it wide open, and I'm assuming you can do these things anonymous? You can leave
for
tips
sure.
anonymously? Yeah.
I'm
So,
sure. Well, thank you for joining us today, coworkers. See you next time.
until next time.
That that wraps up this week's episode.
Thanks for listening, whether you're at your office, at your home, or somewhere in between. We're glad you're here.
Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode.
Like what you heard? Leave us a review and share it with your coworkers.
Got a case you want us to cover or office drama that feels criminal? Send it to us at coworkers.crimepodcast@gmail.com or check the episode notes for all of our social handles. Until next time, coworkers.
Stay curious, stay safe, and stay caffeinated.